This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
California has way more House seats than it should because they have such a high population of illegal aliens.
The elected leaders are ignoring the law. In fact, they're being obstructionists when it comes to getting dangerous criminals off of their streets.
The Constitution forbids us from withholding pay. It does not dictate how we issue the pay.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Good afternoon and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Family Life News anchor Sarah Harnish. Things are heating back up again. We're going to be 88 degrees for NASCAR weekend at the Glen and 90 by Monday. Kevin Williams has your full forecast in a few minutes. Counting America. President Trump is calling for a new census, an accurate one. Fox News summing up a post the president made on Truth Social today.
Quote, people who are in our country illegally will not be counted in the census.
Vice President J.D. Vance in full agreement.
California has way more House seats than it should because they have such a high population of illegal aliens. So they get rewarded for welcoming illegal aliens into their state, giving them federal benefits, actually asking the taxpayers of states like Ohio to subsidize them. And then those same taxpayers in Ohio and Indiana and elsewhere, they have fewer congressional representatives because of what California has allowed to happen. That's ridiculously unfair.
Trump has ordered the Department of Commerce to immediately begin work on a new and accurate census based on modern-day facts and figures of Americans who are here legally. In New York City, activists rallied today against what they called a covert ICE detention center. It was a different story in Chicago. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem accused Democrats of shielding violent immigrants there.
The elected leaders in this state of Illinois are ignoring the law. In fact, they're being obstructionists when it comes to getting dangerous criminals off of their streets.
There is unrest in Israel over the Israeli government's plan to seize Gaza City and expand the war against Hamas.
Thousands of Israeli protesters took to the streets across the country. While in Gaza, there was disbelief and despair. We're being tested beyond human limits, said Raed Mohammed. Israel isn't killing Hamas.
President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin will reportedly hold a summit. NBC News says it could happen by the end of next week. The location's still being decided. It's unclear if Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will be involved or not. New York Attorney General Tish James has been subpoenaed by the U.S. Justice Department. CBS's Jake Rosen.
The investigation, the civil lawsuit that resulted in $355 million fine that has then been appealed. We really have not heard from an appeals court on that for a long time. That doesn't mean President Trump has forgotten about it. And the Department of Justice is opening an investigation. A grand jury has been convened in that case to potentially go after her for potentially violating President Trump's legal rights in that investigation.
Now to Texas. Democratic lawmakers who fled the state to avoid a vote on redistricting that would favor Republicans will need to show up to collect their paycheck. House Speaker Dustin Burrows.
The Constitution forbids us from withholding pay. It does not dictate how we issue the pay. Those checks must now be picked up in person on Capitol grounds, effective immediately.
But where are the Democrats? CBS reporter Trevor Sohacki is tracking some of them.
They're now leaving Illinois, where they've spent the last week or so. They're going to California. That's according to Governor Gavin Newsom's office. And this is all in an effort to block Republicans from redrawing congressional districts to give the GOP 5 more seats in the U.S. House.
Dozens of cannabis shops across New York State may lose their license to operate because they're too close to a school or a church. State cannabis regulators notified over 150 pot businesses July 28th that their licenses cannot be renewed. Now there's a war of words going on between Governor Kathy Hochul and the man that used to run the Office of Cannabis Management, Chris Alexander, over who's at fault. Hochul blaming Alexander.
He wrote it, so he knows the law.
Alexander told Spectrum News Hochul knew exactly what was going on and signed off on the rules in 2023.
It wasn't an oversight. It wasn't a mistake. it was that choice.
There's no resolution yet on what will happen to these dispensaries, but there is the potential for a court to rule that the shops can stay open. State law requires there be at least 500 feet between a dispensary and a school or a house of worship. If you live near or have visited the shores of Lake Erie, you might have seen them or perhaps smelled them. Hundreds of dead fish washing ashore.
We started to get the first reports of a fairly large fish kill event that was occurring at that time from Dunkirk to the Pennsylvania line in the New York waters of Lake Erie.
Jason Robinson with the state DEC says many of them are sheep's head fish caught up in a natural phenomenon known as upwelling. It happens during the summer when strong northeast winds push cold water up from the bottom of the lake. It's a fatal flip for some fish. The DEC says nature will take care of the victims over the next several days. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro may have his first Republican challenger. PA Treasurer Stacey Garrity says she has chosen whether or not she'll run for governor in 2026, but she's not telling the press yet.
I've made a decision, and there will be an announcement very soon.
Many Pennsylvania Republicans see her as a promising candidate. The exception is Republican State Senator Doug Mastriano, who is also weighing another run for governor after losing to Josh Shapiro in 2022.
Stacey has a long way to go with name recognition.
It was Mastriano who helped Garrity win her seat as treasurer. He spoke with WHTM.
I am proud to say that my wife and I helped her win in 2020. She had no traction early on.
You know what? They were incredibly helpful, and I will forever be grateful for Senator Mastriano.
At least one poll has shown Mastriano, if he chooses to run again, would beat Garrity in a Republican primary. And researchers say a new app has been successful in slowing the number of suicides. CBS's Jennifer Kuiper.
New research from Ohio State University and Yale finds that an app that delivers therapy specific to suicidal ideology can reduce suicidal behavior among high-risk patients. Ohio State psychiatry professor Craig Bryan is one of the study's authors.
A 58% reduction in recurrence of suicide attempts is actually pretty consistent with what we see from therapies that basically deliver the same intervention just through the more traditional face-to-face format.
Bryan says the idea is that the app would become available to patients from their mental health treatment providers.
Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, we've got a staycation idea just for you involving tall ships. And it's International Cat Day. You either love it or you hate it. Those stories after weather.
Hi, I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. The weekend is upon us, and it's going to be a classic summer weekend with plenty of sun and heat. Rain chances are low. Rainfall we could use, but not expected in any significant way until the middle of next week. The call for tonight will turn out mainly clear, moonlit, still a little hazy, low temperatures ranging mid-50s to mid-60s. Then for tomorrow and Sunday, abundant sunshine and hot with high temperatures in the 80s and lower 90s. It'll be a bit cooler both afternoons along the shores of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, and the heat and the sun continue into early next week.
Thank you, Kevin. We got a real treat for you today. It is called Tall Ships Erie. It's staycation destinations with our own Mark Webster and Captain Billy Sabatini. Let's listen in.
I actually started off in sailing when I was about 13, 14 years old on a ship called Tabor Boy in Marion, Massachusetts at Tabor Academy, where I went to high school. On the ocean in Massachusetts is where I'm from. Right. And then I moved to Maine, went to Maine Maritime Academy, which is effectively boat college. It's a wonderful boat college, and graduated there with a degree in small vessel operations with a concentration in sail training. So I have a degree in exactly what I do. Not everybody gets to say that, which is kind of nice. And being here in Erie, I sailed on Niagara for 19 years. We also operate the schooner Letty G. Howard, owned by South Street Seaport Museum in New York City. And we operate the ship through a programmatic collaboration with them. That ship's been here since 2018, and I sail as captain of that as well. So I run both the office and the ship. We started doing Tall Ships Erie. 94 was the first one that was done.
How did it get started?
That's an even longer story. But and then in 2010, we started them up again. and we've been doing them every 3 years since 2010.
So let's talk about Tall Ships Erie 2025. We're getting pretty close here. I guess it could be different things to different people. What are some of the things people can expect when they show?
The first piece is the parade of sail. So if you can be here on Thursday at 4 o'clock, we'll have 9 ships sailing into Presque Isle Bay, which is a really impressive sight because you don't get to see that. It doesn't exist in the world to have 9 tall ships at the same place at the same time, except for the festival. If you can see that, it's really amazing. The parade of sail is free. There's no charge. You just have to be here. One thing we've been telling everybody, though, is just because the parade of sail is free for you does not mean it's free for us. And we actually have Erie Gives, which is next week. The Erie Community Foundation does one day of giving. So we're telling people, look up the flagship Niagara League, which is our actual name. We don't use it that much anymore. But please think of us during Erie Gives. And one thing we've been asking people to do is, if you enjoy the parade of sail, if it's something that really moves you, even if you're not going to come to the festival, buy a ticket. It's $12. Effectively, it's a donation to say thank you for putting on this parade of sail. But it starts off with a parade, which is a really amazing, phenomenal thing to see. And then after that, there's kind of a bit of a lull while the ships get ready for the festival Thursday night. Then on Friday morning, everything gets kicked off. So we have 4 ships doing day sails. So you can actually go on the ships and go sailing out in the bay with 3 other ships sailing around with you, which is amazing to be a part of. And then there's 5 ships that are open for deck tours. So your $12 admission plus a $6 add-on gets you onto all of the ships. So it's $18 and you get to go on a tour of 5 different ships. You can talk to the crew, you can touch the lines, you get to be on the ship and really feel what it's like to be on board. And then we also have a maritime marketplace inside the convention center. So we have about 30 plus vendors. They're all going to be there, do a little shopping and find some things that might be interesting for you. And then we have a kids zone that's also going to be in the convention center. We try to give things for people to do, not just on the ships. There's a music that's going to be there. And then over at Dobbins, we have our VIP area, because we have 2 different levels of VIP, and also we're going to be doing a bit of a beer garden, our retail store plus soda, water on the top level of Dobbins. So anyone that has a ticket can come up there, grab a soda, sit back, and just take it all in.
You don't have to be an old salt to really appreciate it. It's just something for everybody.
It is, and the whole idea is about, like I said earlier, about exposing people to something they don't think is real. Effectively, we're nothing but magical pirate ships, right? But we're not. I mean, these are professional mariners. I've dedicated my entire life and my entire career to training people under sail, and it's a real job, and it comes with real risks and real world problems. So we want people to know about this, and we want to connect people to the past. You can have no idea about what boats are, what water is, or tall ships are, and you can come down and just take in the spectacle of it. It's like someone taking the space shuttle and parking it in your front yard, because that's how unique these ships are. Even if you're a history buff and you know everything about ships, you're going to love it. But if you know nothing about ships, you're still going to love it. And on top of all that, we have the world's largest rubber duck. That's another piece.
Say no more.
You can see the world's largest rubber duck. So come down and check that out. And then after you're done with that, go check out the ships too.
Try to sum it up a little bit then. What do you hope the average attendee walks away with?
I want you to realize what's possible. Because if what we do is real and what we do is possible, what else is out there in the world for you? That's what I want people to get out of an experience like this. I want you to challenge yourself and think about, what can I do with my life?
You can subscribe, listen to, and share Staycation Destinations and all of Family Life's original podcasts at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or at familylife.org.
It's hard to name the most painful financial decision, but for many, co-signing a loan ranks near the top. Hi, I'm Rob West with your Faith and Finance Minute. While the Bible doesn't forbid co-signing, it does urge caution. Proverbs 6 warns that putting up security for someone else's debt can become a trap. Why? Because co-signing means you're agreeing to pay if they can't. And when it's a friend or family member, that burden can strain more than just your finances. If you've already co-signed, consider refinancing. The borrower may now qualify on their own or offer to match payments as an incentive to stay on track. It's not ideal, but it could avoid a greater loss. Scripture invites us to seek wisdom, and when it comes to debt, wisdom means pausing, praying, and proceeding with caution. We can help you learn to manage your money according to biblical principles when you download the free FaithFi app. You'll find it on our website at faithfi.com.
Coming up on the 5 o'clock report, a holiday you don't want to miss. That's today. But weather first.
Hi, I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. The weekend is upon us, and it's going to be a classic summer weekend with plenty of sun and heat. Rain chances are low. Rainfall we could use, but not expected in any significant way until the middle of next week. The call for tonight will turn out mainly clear, moonlit, still a little hazy, low temperatures ranging mid-50s to mid-60s. Then for tomorrow and Sunday, abundant sunshine and hot with high temperatures in the 80s and lower 90s. It'll be a bit cooler both afternoons along the shores of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, and the heat and the sun continue into early next week.
All right, Kevin, finally at 5 today is International Cat Day. Free Tennis has more on a day to love and pamper your feline.
The day is set to raise awareness about how cool cats are. They have power jumping abilities. They knock stuff over, and we're okay with it, and nap about 16 hours a day. It's a coveted life. And they aren't just cute. The College of Veterinary Medicine at Cornell University says petting a cat for 10 minutes reduces stress and anxiety in humans. No doubt there's a cat waiting for you at a local animal shelter. Maybe you take a peek. I'm Bree Tennis.
And that's the world that we live in for Friday, the 8th of August. I'm Sarah Harnish, and this is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.